see a boat.
No.
Cuba, there's no boats.
Oh.
Because no one is allowed,
Can't get away.
no one's allowed to own a boat because we're only 90 miles away.
Yeah.
They'll escape. They don't want any people escaping. Okay, so there's no boats. Yeah, no problem. Obama came along when he was elected. See, we have this embargo on Cuba, and we bring the biggest financial country in the world. Everyone kind of follows us. They have no credit. So when they have food delivered, they have to pay cash on the line. There's no credit. The poor country is really crippled because of this embargo. We Americans could not get directly into Cuba until Obama came along and lifted it for religious and educational groups. I went with a college, and but as somebody told me recently that that's changing as well. I don't know that for sure, but anyway. Otherwise, you'd have to go through Mexico or Canada. There's a number of tourists. There's a lot of Europeans who go there, you know. And it is the most musical. The music went on. Musical country I've ever visited. I wanted to create an atmosphere. Okay. So every corner has this music going. Every restaurant, every hotel. There's just music all over the place, people singing and playing all their instruments. It's just fantastic. It's also the most noisy country I've ever been to. There's noise all over. I like noise. I have no problem with that. So, but some people did. Let me see. There's a lot of poverty in Cuba. Everybody works for the government. But there's nobody starving there. There's people starving in our country, not in Cuba. They get rations, they can collect, and we went to the ration place, 6 pounds of rice a month and 2 pounds of beans. Now if you're over 70 or a child, you can also get some chicken and milk. And so they're not starving. No homeless. Homeless? I didn't see anybody sitting around the corner, you know, no. And the place is very, very safe. Someone was saying it would make a great senior citizen retirement community. There's 360 days of the year. It's warm and sunny and no rain. And there's 1950s cars for all of us old people. And it's safe. So, you know, yeah. People liked us. No animosity. People were lovely. Food was pretty, because it's all controlled by the government, every restaurant seemed to have the same kind of food. There was soup, there was a salad and soup and a meal, pork, and vegetables and rice. Fish, yes, although they can't fish. They can only fish from Venezuela. Right, Venezuela gives them all their fish. It sells them. Okay. Hotels were pretty well. They're kind of up to date. There were swimming pools, air conditioning. I was really not expecting air conditioning, but they have it. Elevators very often were broken. But that's all right. There's enough workers to lug your luggage up and down. They're very concerned about medicine, medical care. We went to a lot of educational things that tourists wouldn't generally get to. Like we went to a center where they brought from the country pregnant women in at 40 weeks and kept them there until they had their baby. And it was just, they take good care of them. That's quite important. A lot of countries are helping, like Chavez went there for an operation. So that'll tell you something how important it is for them. Che Guevara, you know Che Guevara? He's on every t-shirt. Every t-shirt stand, Che Guevara's picture's on. I don't know who buys them. I didn't have any desire to buy them. Yeah, right. They were told us not to bring traveler's checks, just bring cash. If you have euros or Canadian money, best. They give you a good rate. Americans, they tack on another 10% because they're mad at us. Yeah. So, and no, they won't do traveler's checks. No ATMs. There's no telephones. No one's doing this or this. Everything is just like it used to be in our country. They're doing it. You can't charge anything. It's all cash.
No American Express.
No, nothing, right. And no telephone, like, I told my family, unless you hear anything on the radio, I'm safe. You know, I'll be back home in 2 weeks, so don't worry about it. Right? No. In Havana, I know that they have some Wi-Fi that you can pay for, but not very far, and it's not very good either. Yeah. Let's see. We were warned how strict they were getting into the country, and always had to get a license. We had to get a license and a visa and everything to get in there, and always have it with you to show them and don't tell them. There was this morning, and I want to tell you my story. I get there with a visa that I had on my old passport. We were told you had to have 2 pages of passport, blank, to get in there. So I got a new passport. All right, so I get there. Visa, 1 number. With my number, my old passport, new passport. The man at the immigration doesn't speak English. He just held it up to me, and I go. And he scratched out the old number and put in my new one. I thought, wow, this is some strict place. Then he saw that I had my middle initial on my passport, but not on my visa. So he holds that up again too, and he scratches out the middle initial. So then I thought, okay, we're gonna have trouble getting out of here. You know, did I doctor it up? Anyway, but I didn't. No problem. Let me see. And they did not stamp our passport. It was like I never left. I wanted them to stamp my passport. They said it's for our own sake with the United States. I have no idea. You know, I mean, went into the country legally as far as the United States is concerned. You know, Obama said we could do it. Anyway, rum and cigars you're not allowed to take out of the country. They're too big, but they are into the United States. That's right. These are our little. Okay. But art, they love art, and they do very good art. There's art all over the place. So much so that if you want to buy art and you didn't bring enough money with you, they actually let you bring it home and send the money to an American bank that they've set up. Oh. Isn't that interesting?
Trusting.
Trusting, absolutely. Makes you scratch your head, doesn't it?
I'm sure we would do that.
Let me see. I have a funny story to tell you about a bracelet. I had this plastic bracelet. You've seen them that all the kids are wearing. Mm-hmm. So one of my grandkids gave me this plastic bracelet and says, "How have I helped people today?" And it's for the kids, you know. But I thought it was cute. So this young man, about 20, he was selling trinkets, came up to me and he wanted my bracelet. First he just wanted it. And then he decided, because I wasn't budging, he'd trade one of his stuff. So I somehow found out from him, do you know what this says? Yeah. No, you know, something. You're not getting the bracelet. But then he saw my tattoo. So then we started comparing tattoos. It was so funny. I would have missed out on that had I given him the bracelet, right? I would have missed that fun time. Restaurants, you know, I told you they're all the same, but there are some restaurants that the government lets private people open up in their own homes and employ just the family members. They're called Polan. I don't know. They start with P. I don't know what they're called. But they had some good food. Now we had some nice food, so we very often go there. We see beaches. We never saw. I know the beaches are beautiful. We never saw them because I went with an educational group. We should have gone with a sunshine group, right? Never saw them, but I imagine they're beautiful. We went to cemetery. We went to 2 cemeteries, libraries, hospitals. I'm sorry. I don't know why we didn't go to jails. I mean, that would have fit in with all the. We went to our embassy. We don't have an actual embassy there. We have it's called an interest group. And we have about 125 people there in Havana. They're not allowed to travel more than 25 miles around this interest group. They're confined. Which means they can get out of Cuba. Havana's not that big. And they brought us in there and they gave us their United States propaganda. You know, we had University of Havana people giving us their propaganda, you know.
In England.
In England, at the interest group. They're all Americans.
No, but I
You know,
mean,
Havana, yeah, the professor from the University of Havana speaks English. Yeah.
but then,
The natives,
people.
not that much.
No.
I always made sure I traveled around with a Spanish-speaking person,
Right.
so we could talk.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Well, I will try
That
to.
interest group that
Yes.
you're talking about, they're employed, are they part of the American government?
They are us.
And we pay,
Yes.
they're paid by, and what is their function other
Well,
than
so it's
being
like any
there?
embassy in the world.
But they don't function, I mean, since there's no political.
We just have a stand, we just have a.
Just like, okay.
Right, I understand we have an interest group in North Korea and Venezuela as well.
Okay.
Guatemala. There's a lot of landmines around Guatemala, so you can't get close to it. You have to stop your bus up the hill and get your telephoto lenses out and take pictures. I'll try to show you when it comes up here. We got Guatemala at the beginning, turn of the century, the turn of the 20th century, because we were helping them out from Spain, and that was our gift. Now it's a great big bone of contention. We have a few Cubans we're holding there, pretty long time ago. We have a lot of the Taliban we're holding there. We have maybe about 200 employees there, and there's probably about 200 prisoners there. But Guatemala stays, and I don't know what's ever going to happen there. I don't know what's going to happen with the embargo. But people are seeing all these tourists come in. Tourism is our biggest industry. Tourism, and then money from the Cubans who live in Miami. Second, and then third probably rum and cigars. So they're seeing and they're talking with us and they're hearing and they, you know, everything that's not them. Let me see. When Russian fell, so did Cuba. Because Russian was holding Cuba up. Russian was providing Cuba with everything. But people do seem fairly content. You know, as I said, there's music all over the place. Let me see. Life expectancy is the same as ours. Kind of interesting, right? Most Cubans have enough money to last them.
Ooh,
That's
10
something.
days.
10 days.
can't say.
There's no recycling there.
No recycling.
No recycling. They're obsessive about cleanliness. Place is really clean. There's no advertisement around. There's no advertising.
Billboards.
There's no billboards. They do everything word of mouth. Probably everything under the table stuff. And, you know. There's one newspaper. They don't have paper. They don't have trees. There's one newspaper, and someone said the only thing that's is truthful about that paper is the date. Right. And there's not very much rain. So when you fly into Cuba, you would think it was just deserted. It's all brown and just, oh my God, barren. Yeah. Although they are starting now to grow. There's 4 big gardens in Havana. You'll see them. That is all organic because they can't afford fertilizer. So it's all organic, and they're somehow doing the water so that they're able to water it. They're probably using ocean water and, you know, that type of thing. Everyone's driving around in the 50s cars again. For a while, the 50s cars were parked because they didn't have any gasoline. Now Venezuela is providing with gasoline. I think Russia might be a little bit too. Let me see.